Welcome back to Soccer Talk with the Soul, presented as always by New Mexico Pinon Coffee. I'm joined now by Ron Patel of the Albuquerque Soul.
Not the future mayor.
Okay.
Just for the record.
I thought maybe. I don't know. I thought maybe. So we're going to turn our attention now to the world of soccer, which in Ron's world does not exist outside of England, right? So there's actually a pretty cool video that we found that we want to show our audience that kind of encapsulates Premier League fans pretty well. So let's take a look at that right off the bat.
This is a good one.
Hello mate, I was in here a few years ago and I bought a pint that I didn't really rate, so I left most of it. But I thought about it and reckon it's probably pretty good now, so could I buy it again please?
What, the same pint?
Yes, please. Oh, and also could I pay 3 times more than it's actually worth? Thanks. What is this? 11 pints of champagne. Chop chop. Pint of Peroni, please, mate.
That's £5.20.
You what? I'll give you £4.40 for it. I'm not paying that much.
That's the going rate.
Nah, I'll just buy a cheaper one nobody's ever heard of and hope it works out all right. Cheers.
That's £15, please, mate. Thank you.
Hold up, I'll give you 50 quid for those pints right now.
Yeah.
No, pleasure doing business.
Cheers. See you next time. All right, mate, could I get 11 of your worst drinks all mixed in the same glass?
Won't that be awful?
You'd be surprised. No, but seriously. Thanks. Hello, mate, can I have one of every drink you have, please?
Finally, I'll have a pint, please.
What are you having?
Foster's.
Not again! Come on!
Yeah, I just thought that video just kind of perfectly sums up Premier League and their fans and their teams.
It's so classic, and it's just, I mean, obviously the video talks about money, and the amount of money involved in these leagues now with all the TV money, and not, of course, just in England, but around the world. You know, NBC's deal, I think, is worth $1 billion this year for the Premier League, and obviously your favorite league, Bundesliga, and a lot more coverage now.
Right, yeah. I mean, I couldn't be happier that they're on FS1 and Fox now. And so, I mean, and that was a short-term deal. So when that deal comes up, I'm hoping that you know, the popularity will have grown and we can get some of that money because, to be honest, German players are leaving the Bundesliga for that huge money in the Premier League.
And it's just, there's a cool atmosphere with any Bundesliga game you watch. There's an electricity about the crowd that I just love. I mean, obviously, I enjoy all soccer. But there's a special electricity about the Bundesliga. For me, it's more the nostalgia of the Premier League as to why I watch so much Premier League football.
Well, historically, it's been a strikers' league, so that's always nice to watch that style, you know. I mean, yeah. I'm a Bayern Munich fan, and I know Pep did his best to kind of kill off that style at Bayern, but, you know, they're kind of slowly getting back to it a little bit, that aggressive striker style. So that's what I like about the Bundesliga. And like you said, when I'm trying to sell some of my American friends on some soccer, you know, especially if it's like a Germany matchup, an international matchup, I tell them, do you really need a reason to meet your friends at 12:45 on a weekday at a bar? I mean, the fact that soccer's on, that's an added plus, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, and of course the Premier League is what we talk about a lot more in this show than
right.
the other leagues. It's been an exciting year, and everyone has said it was going to be the battle of the Manchesters. And we do miss our resident expert, Dan Lodge, who is at his cousin's wedding in Tucson. So Dan, if you're watching, we miss you this week. He's usually on the show. But yeah, the tables are interesting this year. I think we've got a graphic.
Yeah, let's take a look
for the top of the table in the Premier League. There you have it with Manchester City in first.
And I mean, that really doesn't, I don't know if it surprised you. It doesn't surprise me with, I mean, I think it was time for a change there. And whether you like Pep's style or not, he usually brings results with him.
He's an excellent manager. No matter where he's gone, he's always found success. And then there's Tottenham. A lot of people didn't know if they were going to continue their good form from last year. I think your compadre Tyler Ortega is a big Tottenham
Tyler's
fan.
Yeah, I don't have to watch the matches on Sunday. I just follow his Twitter, and it's like I'm there live.
As long as you're not watching his Dallas Cowboys show, then I'm okay with that.
Go there.
But Tottenham's obviously having a good year, and there's Arsenal right there, who I'm sure will finish in fourth like usual by the end of the year. And Dan's not here to defend himself today. My Liverpool, of course, in fourth, and then followed by Everton, Man United, and Chelsea down in seventh. Obviously a down year last year. They've kind of worked their way up the table a little bit from where they were. What do you think about this Conte thing?
I mean, can you sack a guy that early is my question. I don't, But so usually when you really want to know what's going on, you go to the bookmakers in England, right? And so they've actually suspended betting on whether he's going to get sacked or not. They suspended betting this morning on that. So to me, that says there's possibly a leak of information that a decision's been made one way or the other for bookmakers to suspend betting there. So I don't know, that's interesting. And then the team that really kind of is the team I'm going to be watching the rest of the year is Manchester United. I have a suspicion that they'll move up in the table. I'm not sure. I mean, that used to be the team I kind of followed and liked, but the way Mourinho treated Schweinsteiger, and to a German soccer fan, that's royalty right there.
Right.
So the way they treated Schweinsteiger.
We all have our weaknesses, Sebastian, and
Right.
of course you choosing to root for Manchester United is obviously one of yours. And we'll touch on the big game coming up.
Right.
But let's take a look at the bottom of the table. And why do we look at the bottom of the table? What's cool about European soccer, for those viewers that aren't familiar, is the concept of promotion and relegation. And what's neat about this is at the end of the year, the teams in the bottom three, so as you see there, West Ham United, Stoke City, and Sunderland, who is always flirting with the bottom three and just tends to sneak out at the end, those teams actually get relegated down to the division below. What does that mean?
And I mean,
A lot of money.
right? Yeah, I mean,
Lost.
exactly. And coaches losing their jobs when relegation happens. And what I found towards the end of the season, and I don't know how you feel about it, but a lot of times when the top has kind of been decided, sometimes there's Europa League spots to battle for or whatever. But it's really that battle down in the relegation zone on the last day of the season that's pretty exciting to watch, actually, on that day.
Well, that's great.
Because they're fighting for their lives.
If you're in week 14 or 15 of the NFL season, and let's just take like the Browns and the Jaguars are playing each other, unless you've got money on the game in Vegas, you really don't care too much about that game. And what's great about soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, if this is the table at the end of the year and West Ham and Swansea are playing each other and they're deadlocked on points, the winner of that match determines hundreds of millions of pounds in England of who's going to make money. So those teams go down, and then you've got the Sky Bet Championship, which is the division below that. So the top two teams are guaranteed promotion then up into the Premier League, and then the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth go into a playoff to earn that third spot. So you have a playoff of the the 3 and the 6, and the 4 and the 5, and then you have the ultimate playoff game. So nothing like it, I think, in any of sports in the United States. There's a huge push online. There's a guy named Ted Westervelt. If you follow him on Twitter, he's very controversial, but sometimes controversial is good, is a huge proponent for pro-rel for USA. And there's this movement of we need promotion and relegation in American sports to keep it more exciting, namely soccer, of course. And the argument is you've got Major League Soccer, who now has been announced, Don Garber's announced a $200 million franchise fee. You've got USL, which is below that, still an expensive franchise fee. And then you've got the leagues like the PDL that we're in. So in England, if we wanted to move up to the USL, we could just win our way up, put together a really good team and earn our way up through victories. But now in the United States, it's you cut the check and you're in.
I want to ask you some more about that in a minute. But first, how about Leicester at 12? Cinderella, stop dancing, I guess, huh?
I hate to say, I don't think our coach Matt Gordon's going to get upset because he's a Leicester fan, but I don't think anyone's surprised by this. They had an incredible year. You'll never see a story like that in sports again, I doubt. And you remember the shows last season. We were talking about it, and we loved the story, and I'm a big fan of that story. But having them repeat again, I think everyone knows how to play with them now. And I think all their players got a brand new BMW, like $100,000 sports car. They went to Vegas and had a good time, and then I think it was like, all right, we got to get back to training again.
And I mean, how deep does your roster have to be when you start playing Europa and Champions League?
Yeah.
They're getting a taste of that, and I think it's hurting them big time.
Yeah, and of course, Liverpool, we always complain about how we lose players to injury, and a lot of the time it's the additional games. We weren't deep enough. And Leicester, unfortunately, is not going to be deep.
Well, fear not. There's a German in charge now.
There is a German in charge now.
But let's go back to that whole relegation thing. I do have a couple of questions about that, right? So put on your soul hat for a second. How does that work economically? Let's say carry that over to Major League Baseball or football, right? How does that change the economics of the game if that was introduced to North American sports?
So you would need a couple of leagues that would be one positioned above the other and would have to earn up. So if the NFL was to start an NFL 2, or I think I've heard rumors they're starting an NFL Developmental League, and what would happen is these Developmental League games would have to mean you have to have big money there too, but it allows you to reach more markets. There's 32 teams in the NFL, which means only 32 markets can be affected, even though it seems
And
like
that's always
Dallas is in this town, doesn't it?
right. And hasn't that always been a knock on the NFL that they don't have a developmental league, right? That quarterbacks and stuff can't be ready.
Yep, they tried to do it in Europe,
Right.
but again, you know what soccer does. I mean, football does it. American football does it too. Don't get me wrong, but soccer really brings the community together. I think we're starting to see that here in Albuquerque, and for to be able to reach out to these markets that typically aren't there. So you take a town like Bournemouth in the Premier League. I don't know the population. Forgive me, I don't have the statistics, but it's a tiny little town that was almost bankrupt 5 years ago, and now here they are in the top flight of English football. And their town has come together. I think their stadium attendance is like 12,000. So, anyhow, I know we've got Liverpool Man United coming up this Monday. I'm excited.
That's going to be huge.
Larry's excited. Liverpool Man United fans. We got a little video, right?
Right. We have a video preview, so let's look at that. We'll talk about a little bit of that.
I think I'm a special one.
I'm the normal one, maybe.
Giant club.
It's one of the biggest clubs in the world.
What's your message to United fans who'll be watching this eagerly now?
You know, I think I know what they can give me. I think also they know what I can give them.
The message to those Liverpool supporters: we have to change from doubter to believer. Now.
Then Jurgen Klopp's men took over. 3 minutes in and Chelsea lead at the bridge. Coutinho's turn, Coutinho's shot, brilliant goal. He'll maybe wish he hadn't seen that. Coutinho again! He does it again! Benteke takes his time before shooting and scoring. Another deflection, another Liverpool goal. I don't know. After watching that video, how can you not be rooting against Jose Mourinho, right? If you're the general public, I don't know. The more he speaks, and it's not just because there's a German on the other side, right? And tell our audience now where you're going to be watching that game, where you watch a lot of games, and where they can have a really cool place to hang out and watch soccer.
Of course, Star Brothers Brewing. We have the 505 Reds, which is the Liverpool supporters group of Albuquerque, will be there. And Larry's been recruiting some Manchester United fans that I insist he will not have as many fans as Liverpool fans. So Monday, 1 p.m., it's October the 17th.
And if you haven't been, it's a fantastic place to watch soccer. I've been there for some Germany matches as well. So I hope everyone joins us there on Monday. We're going to take another time out, be back with more soccer talk, brought to you by the NM Pinion Coffee.